Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah, the son of David. We're continuing in Daf 72 of Chullin, page 72, we're on 72b, and the Mishnah went a little bit into the Amud, so we're starting with the Gemara on 72b, Ayin Beis Amud Beis. Gemara starts with the word Amai. Amai Tumas Beis Hastorim. He Tumas Beis Hastorim lo mitamyo lema Rabbi Meir letame. The Mishnah states that according to Rabbi Meir, if a foreleg of a fetus emerges from the womb and is severed after the slaughter of the mother, it is regarded as a carcass with the associated ritual impurity. Furthermore, the rest of the fetus from which it was cut is thereby rendered ritually impure through its contact with the foreleg. The Gemara asks, why should the rest of the fetus be impure? This is a case of impurity imparted within a concealed area, as the point of contact between the foreleg and the fetus existed when they were still naturally connected to each other. And the halacha is that an impure item within a concealed area does not impart impurity if the two items were in contact in a concealed area and not on an external surface. Impurity cannot be imparted from one item to the other. Shall we say that Rabbi Meir conforms to his standard line of reasoning in this regard, as he holds that an impure item within a concealed area does impart impurity? Ditnan shloisha shenechlak toir min hamidras. This is as we learned in the Mishnah in Kalim 27:10 concerning ritual impurity imparted by treading. If a person who is ritually impure due to having experienced a bodily emission, such as a man who experiences a gonorrhea-like discharge, Zav, sits or leans upon an item that was designated for that purpose, the item is rendered ritually impure due to ritual impurity imparted by treading. The item will then impart impurity to people or utensils that come in contact with it. In the case of a garment that is impure with ritual impurity imparted by treading that was 3x3 handbreadths in size, meaning the minimum size to impart such impurity, that was split into smaller pieces. Each part is ritually pure with regard to ritual impurity imparted by treading and will no longer impart impurity to people and utensils that come in contact with it. The Mishnah continues, but each piece will still have the ritual impurity of having been in contact with an item that imparts ritual impurity imparted by treading. Before the garment was split, when it still imparted ritual impurity imparted by treading, each piece of the garment was in contact with another part of it. Through that connection, each piece was rendered ritually impure with the impurity of having been in contact with ritual impurity imparted by treading. When the garment was subsequently split, although the pieces were no longer able to impart ritual impurity imparted by treading, they retained the ritual impurity they acquired through their contact with the other pieces before the garment was split. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. In this case, the contact between the pieces occurred within a concealed area, as the connection between parts of the same item has the status of a connection with a concealed area. Evidently, Rabbi Meir holds that impurity can be imparted within a concealed area. V'tanyo Amar Rabbi Yossi V'chi be'ez midras nagazeh as it is taught in that Mishnah, That Rabbi Yossi says, disagreeing with Rabbi Meir, but what source of impurity imparted by treading did these pieces touch? Rabbi Yossi disregards the contact between the pieces that occurred before the garment was split, as that contact has the status of a connection within a concealed area. Rather, the only way the pieces could still be ritually impure is if a Zav had touched the garment directly. For example, when he sat on the garment, he also touched it with his skin. In that case, the garment would have also been rendered ritually impure due to contact with the Zav, and that impurity would remain even after the garment was split. It would appear then that the opinion of Rabbi Meir in the Mishnah here can be reconciled only with the opinion of Rabbi Meir in the Mishnah in Kelim, but not with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Lav itmar Allah, amar ula lo ishanu ela shloisha shenechlak. The Gemara responds, wasn't it stated with regard to that Mishnah in Kelim that Ula said that they taught that Rabbi Yossi disagrees with Rabbi Meir only in the case of a garment of 3 by 3 handbreadths that was split into smaller pieces, as once it's split, there is no piece large enough to impart to the other pieces impurity imparted through treading. Al shalosh habaos mi beged gadol b'shas perishoson me'avihen mikablos tuma me'avihen honami b'shas perishoson me'ever mikabel tuma me'ever. But with regard to pieces of 3 by 3 finger breadths that come, meaning are cut, from a large garment, everyone agrees that at the time of their separation from their original garment, before they are fully detached from it, they are rendered impure through their contact with the original garment, despite the fact that the contact occurs within a concealed area. In this case of the Mishnah here also, one can say that at the time of separation of the flesh of the fetus from the limb, meaning the foreleg, is rendered impure through its contact with the limb. According to Ula, then the Mishnah can be reconciled also with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Ravina Omar Beged Lav Lechaticha Koi Ubar Lechaticha Koi Chol Omer Lechatoch. Ravina said there is a different explanation of how the Mishnah can be reconciled with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. A garment does not stand, meaning it is not intended to be cut. On the contrary, it is better for it to remain whole. Therefore, the connections between its pieces are regarded as being within a concealed area that cannot impart impurity. By contrast, with regard to a fetus that extends its foreleg, the foreleg does not stand to be cut, as it is prohibited for consumption while the rest of the fetus is permitted. And the halachic principle is that any item that stands to be cut, I'll stop here, mid-stream, mid-sentence, and pick it up next time.